Welcome back to our channel. Let's go check on that sourdough. It has been 11 hours since we mixed up the sourdough last night. It did not double in size, but it definitely grew, and I think that it's still growing. It is about 70 degrees in my house, and the countertop is not the warmest surface, so I think that day that it went crazy and grew so good, I think our house was more like 74 degrees inside because it was so warm that afternoon outside that it caused it to be warm. There is bubbling going on top though, on top, and it looks really good. I can see the progress. So I assumed that it would need longer because it's not as warm as the instructions say, and it's been taking it, I've been feeding it every evening, so I've been feeding it every 24 hours, so it might grow slower than it says because I haven't been feeding it twice a day, but it doesn't need to be fed right now because it's not fully metabolized. So that's what it says on the blog, and it gives you instructions on how to look for that. There's no water, there's no watery substance on the very top. It's not very bubbly. There is some bubbles, but it's not fully bubbly like in the evening when I feed it. So with any luck, we'll be making some bread tomorrow. Just wanted to give an update on the sourdough this morning because it said it should double in size in 4 to 6 hours, and that just did not happen. But it's still growing, and I think it might. And we'll do the float test when I get back home from dropping my kids off at school. They are feeling much better this morning, thank goodness. And so we'll do the float test with it right when I get home. We just got home and I am going to check on the sourdough. I think I'm not going to do the float test this morning. I think I'll do it this evening because I have been feeding the sourdough starter every evening and it's just not doubled in size like the recipe said. And I think it has to do with the temperature in my home because it did get a little bit more chilly today. So it's still rising and it's still doing its thing, but I don't think it's ready for the float test. I don't know. I'll do the float test today, but I think I want to do it this evening. It has been, I gotta close this garage here. It has been 3 days since we added lights to the quail hutch. So Sunday was their first full cycle of this light that we have. And then Monday was their second full light cycle. And Monday afternoon is when we got our first quail egg. We got one quail egg yesterday. I am coming to feed them and peek in to see. It's Tuesday now. So it has been, this will be the fourth day. It'll be the 3rd day of light cycle because Saturday we made it. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, it's the 3rd day because Saturday we did it in the afternoon. So they didn't have full light all of Saturday. But anyway, let's peek in and see what's going on. This is my escapee side. With the garage door shut, it feels a lot safer anyway. There's no eggs in this box. Let me look around the cage and get them a little bit of food. This is the side that we believe, we have 2 males and 2 females, we believe. And we want to get them having only one male in here so there's less stress. They have plenty of water and they're doing really good. This is the side we believe that we have 3 females and no eggs in here yet. But I'm not discouraged because yesterday they laid their egg in the afternoon. I hope we didn't stress them out. I think she might have been trying to sit on her egg too. She either had just laid it or she was trying to sit on it. I don't know if quail go broody. Like I said, this is our first time raising quail. But they're pretty happy creatures. So no eggs this morning on the morning of day 3. We'll check back this afternoon. The ladybugs are not active at all. It is more chilly today, like I had mentioned. And they mostly like to huddle right up there.
They are huddling today.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, man. I didn't see them there.
So I am going to get a fish tank thermometer and put on here to see the temperatures that they like the best. I'd like to know best conditions for them. Today I am doing this project. I'm going to carefully remove the sprouted ones, the sprouted lilies. Yeah, and put them in small pots, individual pots, so that they can have an individual pot. I'm going to keep watering this container because you never know, maybe another one will sprout late. And a couple of videos back I shared that mice got into this project and stole some of my seed, which I was really sad about. But I will show you, these are called lily bulbils, and I got them off the lily plant in the fall. It was dropping these off of the plant, and I will show you those pictures now and explain a little bit more about that. This fall, when I cleaned up the flower garden, I noticed these little nodules, these little seed pods is essentially what they are, on the lily plant. And at first I thought maybe they were a bug or something, and so I was a little worried. So I got up closer, and then I noticed that it was the plant producing this, I don't know, the seed pod. And so when I got online to look, I found out that they were called lily bulbils. And then I decided that I read about it, and the lily plant will drop these off, and they should theoretically grow new lily plants. Each little bulbil will grow a new lily plant. So I gently plucked them off of each plant, as you saw in the video, and I decided I would see if they would sprout better on top of the soil or being buried in. And I also put a few in a Ziploc baggie with just a wet paper towel, damp, not soaking wet or anything, just a couple of mists of water. Then a couple weeks later, mice got into my plant room. And we haven't had a problem with mice for so long, and for some reason, it just randomly got in there and got into our stuff. And it was a pretty bad problem. We didn't get any video of that because we were a little grossed out by it. And the cats normally take care of any mice problems. So anyway, I ended up losing half of my science experiment because the mice stole or mouse stole. I don't know if it was one or multiple, but it had definitely made a little nest, but there were no babies or anything. But we think, well, I think that the mice killed itself because the lily bulbils are poisonous to mammals. And I was reading that don't let your cats get this, don't let your dogs get this. So I had it in this room shut off from all my animals so they couldn't get it. But I thought how interesting nature is that these mice would steal these plants, because I found them all along my closet where they had taken them. And how interesting nature is that a mouse would come and take it. So if this was outside, a mouse would come and take it and then scatter it somewhere else, and potentially it would have the potential to sprout right where the mouse had taken it. So I thought that was really interesting, but it kind of stunk for my project because the ones that the mice had stolen had shriveled up and died in my closet because I didn't know where they had gone. If I had cleaned it up and looked for them the very first day, I probably could have saved those plants. But anyway, I think the mouse chewed on it and killed itself, which kind of was a little bit funny because I haven't seen any mice since the mysterious bulbul mystery gone missing. And that brings us back to today with the sprouted lily plants. And I'm just so thrilled that my experiment worked a little bit. And I think that more would have sprouted if the mouse hadn't stolen my experiment. But that's okay. I'm super happy with the sprouts that we got today. So I took those ones out of the baggie and put them on top of the soil. And I don't think they got them all because there's one tiny blade growing up right here, and I believe that is one of them. So hopefully they weren't able to steal all of them. This side was the side that I had buried to experiment if burying them was going to be better or if putting them on the soil, on top of the soil, was going to be better. But all the ones that were on top of the soil were stolen by the mice or the mouse. I don't know if it was one or more. I didn't think they could get up on this shelf. I didn't think they could climb that shelf, but they did, and I didn't have this lid on. So I've been very careful to keep this lid on now to make sure. Also, I keep the door open now, so our cats can get in here if any more come.
Hi. She's so excited.
We are going to be separating these baby lily plants today. We have these little pots.
A little foil.
And some potting soil.
And a little foil.
Oh yes, we're going to gently lift them out of the soil like this. We'll get a close-up for you, but we're going to gently lift them out of the soil with this little fork.
And then we have a cup.
Yep,
To
with
put the
potting soil. Yep. So that's what we're going to do first is we have 11 plants here.
Oh.
So we're going to fill 11 of these little cups.
Okay. Mom's gonna pull one out.
Maybe we should do, we'll do this one right here.
Okay.
We want to go down really far just in case the root went down really far.
Ta-da!
Let's examine it.
Careful.
Do you see it?
I'm gonna get a close-up.
Okay, hold still.
Hard.
Very good. So we're going to plant it about this deep. Right to there. So I'm going to plant it in this pot right here.
Right there. Pop. And the plant's in it. Ta-da!
It is a lily plant.
Uh-huh.
A very tiny lily.
Lily. Can I?
Oh, Emmett. Nice. He said ta-da.
No.
All right, so now we're going to do a...
Carefully, carefully. All the way. Out. Out. Ta-da!
Got it.
No, I'm being exact.
Can you find its root? Let's look at this one's root.
Ah!
Oops.
I'm back.
Let's see how good this one has some good roots. Good. Okay. Now go ahead and put it in your pot.
Poop. Beep. Boop. Is that too much?
Probably.
Not as long as a root.
Careful, we don't want it to break.
They're cool though. Ta-da!
Still, okay. Put it in the pot.
Okay. There. Boop. Is that good?
Yep.
Okay, now plant it going. Boop, 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 boop. Boop. Ta-da!
We just finished planting them. Haley is claiming one as her own. And tell them why.
Because it's the biggest one. And I think it's gonna go.
I hope transplanting them like this is okay. I hope I didn't just kill them all by disturbing their roots. But we're going to keep this going just in case any more make their appearance. I kind of don't think that there will be any. I think the mice got a hold of half of them. So anyway, we have 11
How much were they?
11 plants that have worked from this project experiment.
How much were there?
There was a lot. There was at least 30, I think. I counted them before, but anyway, a mouse came and stole it.
How two of those mice? At least we have 2 cats.
Yep, the cat didn't get to it in time, and I think the mouse killed itself because these are supposed to be poisonous to mammals. So anyway, don't eat lily bubbles.
We're gonna close it. But how?
Nope.
How do we close the garage?
See, I think that's a female right there. No eggs yet. It's okay. No eggs yet. No eggs yet this afternoon. I moved over the other plant that was on this shelf, and I'm going to give these lily plants this space. So we kicked out the old one and we're starting some new ones. And then I have 3 others because they didn't all fit in that container. I thought I had another grow tray, but I think when we cleaned out this room I got rid of some stuff. So I didn't have another one. So I put these lilies with this lavender. I'm going to turn off these grow lights and show you this lavender. It's looking really, really good. So I was so patient with this lavender right here. And it is starting to do really well. It took a really long time to grow this big. I think this is 8 months now. I started it from seed, but I kept it. It has lived under these grow lights. And so far we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plants that have done really well. And I've trimmed them back and they come back fuller as I trim them back. What's your good news?
The water's back on!
Yes, I was really happy about that too. Our water was shut off this morning. There must have been a break or something. So I put these 3 lilies here. They're the smallest ones. And this poor little one, its root is so strong, but it must have been buried too deep. So that's one thing to note if you're going to do this. Originally I had some on the top and I had dug little holes down deep, and maybe this one got planted too deep. But that's one thing to note, that it caused the top of it to kind of shrivel a little. So we're going to see if that one will make a comeback. And these ones look really good that we just repotted. So like I said, I hope that repotting them didn't disturb their root too much. I kind of wanted to get them in a pot as quick as I could so they'd have their own space and their own nutrients and they weren't fighting over it, because they were all growing in a little clump. So hopefully by separating them out, they'll do better. Now that the water's turned back on, I need to water everything in here. That was my plan for today, was to water everything, and then I saw the water was shut off. The ladybugs are getting more active as it warms up a little bit this afternoon. They were super docile all morning. But they're looking fantastic. And I'm excited to show the progress on how they do on this plant with the aphids. And hopefully we'll start seeing them lay some eggs soon. I won't leave egg clusters in this big tank, because another thing I noticed when I was a little girl watching ladybugs is that they ate the eggs left in there. So I will pull out whatever eggs they lay and put them in a separate jar to have them hatch. Yeah, either this ladybug land or this, and then once they hatch, or I might just set them on a plant that needs attention. I might not put them in a jar at all, but the first batch I'll probably put in a jar just to make sure everything's going well. All right. I don't know if it's a good idea to wake up the quail right now, but I just got home and I need to check on them and see if they laid any more eggs. They're all sleeping, the lights are off, no eggs. Sorry guys, I just wanted to check for eggs. Nope. All the kids are in bed now, and I am going to do the float test on the sourdough. I was going to do it this morning with Haley so she could see it, but it just wasn't ready. It didn't look ready to do the float test. So here's how it's looking. It didn't double in size like the instructions said, so I'm not sure about that. Anyway, it did rise a little, and I do think it's starting to get hungry because I can see this film developing on the top. And so I'm going to do the float test now, and if it passes the float test, then I'll be making bread with this tomorrow. I think it failed the float test. There's a little bit floating on the very top, but for the most part it sank. I'm gonna let it rest for 8 more hours, see if it will do any more growing, because it's just not very, I got it all over the side. Anyway, it's just not doing what it did that first day. It was so cool when it worked. Maybe I'll add the wheat flour again. I've only been using bread flour, and the wheat flour seemed to rise a lot. So maybe I'll add some more wheat flour into it. It just looks like it needs more bubbles to me. It's not fully bubbly like it has been. It's been colder, like I said. Unfortunately, it's starting to be fall now. I'm not going to feed it tonight. I'm just going to let it sit at room temperature for overnight and see if it does anything overnight. And I'll keep you posted. Tomorrow is bread baking day. I'll either do this or a different recipe, and I will keep you posted on that as well. All right, have a wonderful night. Thank you, or day, whatever time you're watching this. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, we would invite you to please like and subscribe to our channel, and like this video and any of the other videos that interest you. We really appreciate your support, and we are getting to know you all, and we are so appreciative of the new subscribers that we have received from the 10 Barn Farms, Walker Farm Fam, and the Farm on Route 66. They're our good friends, and we're so grateful for them. If you haven't subscribed to their channels, please do so. Bye!